Hi everyone, welcome back to Stamp with Anna, and I want to wish you all a very happy new year. Here's hoping that 2021 will be a lot kinder to us than 2020 was. But you know, we always have our crafting, our paper crafting that we can fall back on. And I know that spending so much time inside these days has given me the opportunity to play with paper more often. And so that is a good thing. So I know the holidays just ended, but before you know it, the next one is going to be upon us, which is Valentine's Day. So I want to share with you over the next few days some Valentine's Day cards I made. And this is the first one here. This stamp set that I'm using is in the annual catalog, not in the just released January to June catalog, aka the Occasions catalog. This is the stamp set. It's on page 69, and it's called Meant to Be, and it has four different hearts, 5 if you count these two little ones, and it has some great sentiments to go with it. It also has a coordinating stamp set, die set, which is called the Be Mine die set, and it has all these kind of hearts, these long narrow ones and these scalloped ones. And I'm going to use this one here because the effect that I have on my card, I need this because it's going to cut both layers. Well, I'll show you when I get there. But anyway, so what we used for paper is, my base is Blushing Bride, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5, so it's your regular A2 card. Then I have a piece of white. I'm using Whisper White because I still have it, but as you all know by now, Whisper White has been discontinued and it has been replaced with what's called Basic White. I understand, although I don't have it personally, I understand that it's a tiny bit brighter than the Whisper White, but it does have the same finish on it that makes stamping on it so wonderful. It has goes through an extra process so that the stamp, the ink, sits nicer on it. And of course it is the same thickness so that you can use both sides if you make a mistake. But anyway, this outside Whisper White is cut at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I have another piece of Whisper White which is 4 by 5 1/4, and that's just going to go on the inside of my card. Then from an old retired, I think it was from last year actually, paper pack, which was called From My Heart Specialty Designer Series paper. It has tons of hearts, and I know it's retired and you can't get it anymore, but realistically, we're crafters, we've got something, right? And if we don't, in the new mini catalog, there is a selection. It's a different palette. It doesn't have real red in it, but it does have the Blushing Bride and the Rococo Rose, and it's just a beautiful set. And it also has, there's also a set that has it's black and white, so you could add that black, white, and red if you just colored these in red. So you can use a different paper if you like. But I used that retired one, and I cut a piece 3 3/4. Let me show you. It's 3 3/4 by 5. Then I simply cut 2 inches off the top, and I turned it over, and that's how I got my 2 different tones. So it's one sheet of paper, just sliced and flipped. Okay? So let's get to putting the card together. The first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to put my sample up over here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the white that is the smaller of the two, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm going to attach my papers. So I'm going to take this one that has the pretty hearts on it, and I'm going to just a tiny little border on top there. See that right there? And then I'm going to attach the foil side, the real red foil with the beautiful polka dots on it. And I'm going to butt that up right up against there. Okay, so now I have a what looks like one piece. Now I did on this one here, I attached my ribbon before I did that, but this one I'm going to do a little differently. I have this ribbon, it's called Snowflake Splendor. This was in the holiday catalog. Of course, it's not available anymore, but any ribbon you could bring out, real red, blushing bride, anything will work. Even like a shiny, an iridescent like this one, it will pick up make the foil a little more prominent. So I'm just going to bring this around and make a little knot. I have to have my nails done, so they're a little long to be fussing with ribbon, but we can figure this out. We can finagle this. It's going to be just as pretty. Okay, I'm going to bring in my shears. Now this ribbon, it's a thick ribbon, and so I want it to make sure that it stays where it's supposed to stay. So I'm just going to take a glue dot and put that right behind the knot. And press that down, and now my ribbon is going to stay exactly where I've put it. Now that I see that, I do need to trim these just a tiny bit more. Okay, so that's the base of the card front, and I'm going to attach it to my base. And again, with my Stampin' Snail, I'm going to apply some adhesive and just drop that right here. Now the fun begins. Okay, we need to make our little heart. So what I've done, I want to show you how I mounted this. I have my block, and in the stamp set, I'm going to use this stamp that has the flowers on it. So when it has an empty piece on the inside. So when I take the stamp out, I just want the outside of it. I'm going to leave that piece right in there. And then I'm going to take the sentiment that says, "You make me happy," and I'm going to just wedge that right in there. Make sure it's straight. And now I'm going to be able to stamp all in at one time. I'm going to stamp everything all at once so that I know for sure I'm going to get everything exactly where I want it. I have a piece of scrap Whisper White and my real red ink pad, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to drop that right in the center of my paper, excuse me, straight down and straight up, and there's a perfect impression. Now I want to cut this out. I want to die cut it, and I usually have my die cutting done off camera for you because it saves time, but I did want to show you how this die works. So here's my big shot. I have my magnetic plate, and I have an acrylic plate. I have my stamped image, and then I have the die that's going to cut on the inside as well as a nice scallop on the outside. I have to stand up so I can look down on it. And I'll just push this over just a bit so you can see better. You know, when I video from my iPad, although I think I'm right in the center, I'm always off to the right. So bear with me if you can't see this. So I'm just going to line that up as best as I can. Okay. Looks great. I'm going to bring in my other plate, and I'm going to run that through. Because it has that little fancy scalloped edge, I'm going to go back and forth. That should do it. Now, when I take my paper off, there's my inside of my heart, and here is the outside of my heart. Now, you could cut this out twice, and let's say I did it in pink, in red on white, and then I cut it out in pink. And then I would just take the inside of this and the pink one of the outside, so you can mix and match. But I decided to use both of the white ones and just pop them up. So what I'm gonna do first is, I'm gonna get my silicone pad. And I'm going to attach some adhesive all along my heart, the edge of my heart here. And the silicone pad is just, the mat is just great, because when I get glue on it, it's so easy to wipe off, and otherwise I'm forever cleaning adhesive off of my work surface. So I'm going to give that a press right there. Now I'm going to attach my heart with my Stampin' Dimensionals. And I have to use my mini ones because my big ones are upstairs. I'm going to put one on each there and one right in the center, so I have 3. And then I'm going to lift off the backings, and this is going to fit right inside my die cut heart. Before I press it down, I want to make sure I have it exactly where I want it. Okay, I'm just going to press my heart down a little more because it looks like it came up. Oh, geez. All right, there we go. So now if you look at it this way, you can see it has that little bit of raised there, and it looks, in person, it looks really nice, because you can see that right up. Now I have my last piece of Whisper White, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put that on the inside of my card. I'm not going to stamp it yet because I'm not quite sure who this is going to, and that does make a difference. The options I have are, on the outside I have, you make me happy. I could put Happy Valentine's Day. Here it says, you make me happy. I love our life together. If I'm going to give it to my husband, I will give that to him, make that to him. And then again, you make me happy, to the best friend a girl could ever ask for. So I could use that one if I decide to give this to a friend. So there is my first Valentine's Day card. If you have any questions at all about this project, or any of the products I use, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And if you do not have a demonstrator and you would like a copy of the current mini catalog, it goes from January 5th through June, certainly contact me and I'll be glad to get that off to you. And just as a reminder, Stampin' Up! Is now in the middle of what's their annual event called Celebration. Through January and February, for every $50 you spend, whether you spend it from the annual catalog, from the mini catalog, or right off the clearance rack, for every $50 that you spend, you get to choose a free product in the Celebration brochure. They do have a second tier that if you hit 100, you can get special products that are $100 at that $100 level. But I would be glad to send you that information as well if you contact me through my blog. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and happy Valentine's Day.